Hello. In today's video, we will be looking at the new Ask Data feature recently released in the 2019.1 beta for Tableau Server. Ask Data is a new natural language processing option that allows you to ask natural questions of your data and to see what those results would be. To access Ask Data, you simply need to navigate to the data source page for any data source that you have uploaded to Tableau Server. To access the data sources, we simply go to our Content tab on our Tableau server, and from Explore we select All Data Sources. Here we have 4 data sources uploaded to the server. We're going to focus on the sample EU Superstore dataset. Within the dataset page, we will now notice that there is a new additional tab, which is by default the first tab selected, called Ask Data. In this tab, we can ask our question over here to the right-hand side, and we can also see all of the fields that have been made available for Ask Data. We can also see, as we hover over these fields, a little bit of information about those fields. For fields where there is a description, the description will be shown here, and for calculated fields, a brief preview of the calculation will be shown. Here we can now ask a question of this data. So we will start with a simple question, which is, what is our total sales? Tableau has 2 possible interpretations for what we have asked. The first is the sum of sales, and the second is the count of sales. So while total can be a bit ambiguous, Tableau will allow you to select the version of what you have asked that is actually what you're after. So in this case, we are actually after the count of sales. We want to know the total number of sales. So we select count of sales, and you'll notice that Tableau brings up a new workbook. This workbook isn't quite like the workbooks that we would see if we went in to create a new workbook straight off the bat. We don't have the option to save multiple tabs here. We only have the one worksheet. Over on the left-hand side again, we can see the various fields that we have available for Ask Data. Unlike the data pane, these cannot be dragged and dropped into position because we do not have the same paradigm of shelves that we have in the web edit or in Tableau Desktop. Instead, we have the question bar up at the top here. Tableau will break down the question that you ask into a number of discrete segments. These discrete segments will inform what appears on the view. So let's try this with a different question here. So let's look at the top 5 countries with sales over 50,000. So at the moment, we can see that Tableau has interpreted the question I've asked as the top 5 countries by sum of sales. It hasn't included this last part here with the sales over 5,000. We can have a look at how we might get that in a moment, but if we select the question that we've asked, we can see here that Tableau has broken down the question that we asked into 3 components. The sum of sales, which would be analogous to our axis at the bottom here, country, which is how we want to break down the sum of sales, and a filter part of the question, which is the top 5 countries by sum of sales. We can then add to this question. For example, we can say that the total sales of more than 20,000, or in fact we can make this a little bit better. We can say this is more than 300,000. So here we can see a new component that Tableau has highlighted. We're going to select that. And we can see now that we have further filtered that list to those top 5 countries where the sum of sales is at least 300,000. So we have our 2 components at the front here, which dictate the axes on the view and how that is then broken down. And then we have our 2 question components, which are related to how we want to filter this view. As you can see, Tableau is pretty good at interpreting what you're looking for. However, you do need to potentially reword some of your questions to make sure that they make sense to the processing that's going on behind the scenes. We can change this up a little bit, so we're going to try a different question now, which will be our profit by city. And here we can see Tableau has interpreted this as the sum of profit by city. But rather than the sum of profit, let's have a look at the average profit by city. And here we can see Tableau has correctly interpreted now what we're looking for. When Tableau renders the view, Tableau will try, as always, to pick the view which is most relevant to the question that we have asked. In this case, we have a map where all the cities are plotted. We can change this view in the top right-hand corner of the view itself. So we can change it from a map to a bar chart. And we can change it to a text table, or even to a tree map. In this particular case, I'm going to leave it as a bar chart. And of course, I have the option down in the axis, as I would see on Tableau Desktop or Tableau Online Web Edit, to change how we're sorting the average profit. So sort of by alphabetical order, descending profitability, or ascending profitability. So we'll just bring this back to descending profitability. Now, if I wanted to, I can switch the rows and columns, or in this case, as Tableau calls it, swapping the axes. And much like desktop, we now have a vertical rather than a horizontal bar chart. If I wanted to save this analysis, I can do so here. So I can select Save As. I can place my Ask Data test in any of my projects as normal. If I select Save on that one, we will be taken to view the saved sheet here. And if I have the correct permissions, I can then go in and edit this analysis. I'm taken then to the web edit screen, where I can then make some more in detail changes to what I'm viewing here. So that was Ask Data, a very exciting new feature in Tableau 2019.1, and we're looking forward to its full release. There are some areas where we think it could possibly be improved. So for example, it would be good to see a few more options on configuring the view that we see. But overall, I think that it's going to make a lot of sense for the more casual user, for the users that don't necessarily want to spend the time or do not have the time to spend learning the ins and outs of Tableau Web Edit or Tableau Desktop. It's a very quick, easy and intuitive way to get information from the datasets that you have made available. It would just be good to see this maybe presented in a place other than going down to the actual data source, maybe presenting it as its own tab at the top of the server. So maybe having an Ask Data tab up here in the top, and then encouraging the user to first select the data that they want to analyze, and then asking the questions. And maybe giving a bit of more configurability as to what data sets you can ask data of, rather than just by default enabling it. Make it something that we can curate a little bit more, might be good. But other than that, as we say, a really great tool, and we're looking forward to seeing how it's used and getting it in the hands of the users as time goes forward. Thank you very much, and we'll see you with the next video.